Fear is not the guardian of your limitations, but the herald of your expansion, appearing at the threshold of every door that leads to a larger version of yourself. And that is the thought for today. This episode of 7 Good Minutes is being sponsored by BetterHelp. Workplace stress is real, especially these days. In fact, 61% of the global workforce reports feeling more stressed than ever. And while we can't always walk away from work, we can take steps to manage how we carry it. For me, a daily walk in the sun, or just pausing to breathe between meetings helps. But sometimes, stress needs a deeper kind of support, and that's where therapy comes in. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, with over 30,000 therapists and more than 5 million people served. It's designed to fit your life. Convenient, flexible, and always just a click away. And if you ever want to switch therapists, you can do that at no additional cost. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/7goodminutes. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/7goodminutes. Welcome to 7 Good Minutes. I'm Clyde Lee Dennis. Thanks for joining me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. In today's episode of 7 Good Minutes, we talk about overcoming fear and unlocking your true potential. And that's a guide to freedom. Enjoy. There's a moment in every person's life when they stand at the edge of their comfort zone, looking out at the vast landscape of their potential. In that moment, two voices compete for attention. One whispers of all the amazing things that could happen if you take that step forward, while the other shouts warnings about everything that could go wrong. That second voice, the voice of fear, has kept more dreams locked away, more talents buried, and more potential unrealized than any external obstacle ever could mod. But what if I told you that fear doesn't have to be your prison warden? What if it could become your guide to the very experiences that will unlock your greatest potential? By the end of this episode, you'll understand the true nature of fear, why it shows up when you're on the verge of growth, and most importantly, you'll have practical strategies for transforming fear from a barrier into a bridge toward the life you're meant to live. Let's start by understanding what fear really is. Fear is not your enemy. It's your nervous system's attempt to keep you safe. For thousands of years, fear helped our ancestors survive by alerting them to genuine dangers. The problem is that our modern brains can't distinguish between a saber-toothed tiger and a job interview, between a physical threat and an emotional risk. Your fear response treats the possibility of embarrassment, rejection, or failure as if they were life-threatening dangers. This is why fear often shows up most intensely when you're about to do something that could change your life for the better. Starting a new business, pursuing a relationship, moving to a new city, sharing your creative work, speaking your truth. These opportunities for growth trigger your fear response precisely because they matter so much. Fear is often a sign that you're moving in the direction of your authentic self and your highest potential. The first step in overcoming fear is recognizing that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and choosing to act anyway. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has felt afraid. The difference between those who unlock their potential and those who remain stuck isn't the presence or absence of fear, but their relationship with it. One of the most powerful ways to work with fear is to get specific about what you're actually afraid of. Often, when we say we're afraid of something, we're really afraid of a feeling we might experience. We're not afraid of public speaking. We're afraid of feeling embarrassed. We're not afraid of starting a business. We're afraid of feeling like a failure. We're not afraid of pursuing love. We're afraid of feeling rejected. When you identify the specific feeling you're trying to avoid, you can ask yourself, can I handle feeling embarrassed for a few minutes if it means I get to share something important? Can I handle feeling disappointed if it means I get to try something I've always wanted to do? Usually, the answer is yes. You're stronger than you think, and feelings, even uncomfortable ones, are temporary. Another powerful technique is to practice the worst-case scenario exercise. Ask yourself, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen if I do this thing I'm afraid of? Then ask, if that worst-case scenario actually happened, how would I handle it? What resources do I have? Who could I turn to for help? You'll often discover that even your worst-case scenario is manageable, and that you have more resilience and resources than you initially thought. It's also helpful to examine the cost of not acting. We often focus so much on what we might lose by taking a risk that we forget to consider what we're guaranteed to lose by not taking it. What opportunities will you miss? What experiences will you never have? What version of yourself will remain forever unexpressed? Sometimes the risk of staying the same is greater than the risk of change. Fear often disguises itself as rational thinking. It will give you very logical-sounding reasons why you shouldn't pursue your dreams. You're not qualified enough. The timing isn't right. What if you fail? What will people think? While some of these concerns might have merit, fear has a way of making them seem insurmountable when they're often just challenges to be solved. One way to distinguish between fear-based thinking and genuine wisdom is to ask yourself, is this thought helping me grow or keeping me small? Wisdom helps you prepare for challenges and make good decisions. Fear tries to convince you not to try at all. Start small and build your courage muscle gradually. You don't have to leap from your comfort zone into your terror zone all at once. Identify small actions you can take that move you in the direction of your goals while building your confidence. Each time you feel afraid and act anyway, you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort and uncertainty. Reframe fear as excitement. Physiologically, fear and excitement are very similar. Increased heart rate, heightened alertness, energy coursing through your body. The main difference is how you interpret these sensations. Instead of thinking, I'm scared, try thinking, I'm excited, or I'm energized. This simple reframe can transform your experience of fear from something that paralyzes you into something that energizes you. Surround yourself with people who support your growth. Fear thrives in isolation and withers in the presence of encouragement. Seek out relationships with people who believe in your potential, who celebrate your courage, and who remind you of your strength when fear tries to convince you otherwise. Practice self-compassion when fear shows up. Don't judge yourself for feeling afraid. It's a normal human experience. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend who was struggling with fear. Acknowledge that it takes courage to even consider stepping outside your comfort zone. Remember that your potential isn't a fixed quantity. It's something that expands as you grow. Every time you face a fear and move through it, you don't just accomplish that specific goal. You also expand your sense of what's possible for yourself. You build evidence that you can handle challenges, that you can grow, that you can become more than you currently are. It's important to understand that unlocking your potential doesn't mean you'll never feel afraid again. Growth and fear often go hand in hand. The goal isn't to eliminate fear, but to develop a healthy relationship with it, to see it as information rather than instruction, as a signal that you're approaching something important rather than something to be avoided. Your potential is not just about what you can achieve, it's about who you can become. Every time you choose growth over safety, courage over comfort, you're not just moving toward your goals, you're becoming the kind of person who doesn't let fear make their decisions for them. The world needs what you have to offer. Your unique talents, perspectives, and contributions matter. When you let fear keep you small, you're not just limiting yourself. You're depriving the world of gifts that only you can give. Fear will always be part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to be the director of your life. You can acknowledge its presence, thank it for trying to keep you safe, and then choose to move forward anyway. Your potential is waiting on the other side of your fear, and every step you take toward it, no matter how small, is an act of courage that expands what's possible for your life. The question isn't whether you'll feel afraid as you pursue your potential. You will. The question is whether you'll let that fear stop you, or whether you'll use it as fuel for the journey toward becoming who you're meant to be. That does it for today's episode of 7 Good Minutes. please take a moment to rate and review the show on the platform you're listening on. Until next time, let's be civil to one another out there. Thanks for listening.